Hey guys, let's get more news about Dallas, but first don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. 49ers urged to sign cheap deal for projected $11 million star. There's the potential for the 49ers to find themselves in a good news/bad news situation now that NFL free agency has just about run its course. The bad news is that they did not upgrade their depth at cornerback, with Charvarius Ward locked in on one side and only Diamador Lanier set on the opposite side. The good news is that the price to do so has dropped dramatically, and the 49ers could potentially afford to add former NFL champion and five-time Pro Bowler Stephon Gilmore to the mix. A little bonus, Gilmore would come via Dallas, where he spent last year posting a very good season for the Cowboys, who are undergoing a bit of a purge as they deal with cap issues. The Cowboys have lost 5 starters and have done little to replace them. They did swipe 49ers linebacker signee Eric Kendricks, meaning they do not figure to be as much of a challenge to the reigning NFC champion 49ers as teams like the Eagles, Lions, and Packers next year. Seeing Gilmore flip from Dallas to San Francisco would be salt in the Cowboys' wounds. At Bleacher Report, writer Matt Holder sees Gilmore as a bargain answer to the 49ers' depth problems in the secondary. San Francisco entered the offseason needing an upgrade at the defense's second starting cornerback spot. However, the front office was handcuffed by a lack of cap space. Now that it's several weeks into free agency and Gilmore is still available, he might be willing to take a cheaper deal to play for a Super Bowl contender like the 49ers. Now, it is not an emergency situation for the 49ers at cornerback. Lanier was not bad last year, and made for a good tandem with Ward. But Ambry Thomas was a bit out of his depth when he got playing time, and the 49ers might be more comfortable going with veteran Isaac Yiadom. Ward was number 5 on Pro Football Focus list of 127 cornerbacks last year. Lanier was number 23. Thomas ranked just 75th while playing 573 snaps, where Yiadom was 10th and played 517 snaps defensively. Gilmore played all 17 games for Dallas last year, but he struggled in the playoffs with a shoulder injury that required surgery. Still, he is expected to be ready for 2024. He has a championship pedigree, having helped the Patriots to a Super Bowl win at the end of the 2018 season. Gilmore might be available on the cheap, given where the market is. He is coming off a contract in which he earned $20 million over 2 years, originally signed by the Colts in 2022. According to Spotrac, he has a market value of $11.4 million on a 1-year deal. Given his age, that makes some sense. Pro Football Focus projects a Gilmore deal at 1 year, $10 million. The site summed up his free agent credentials. Gilmore's trade from the Indianapolis Colts to the Dallas Cowboys this offseason got him back to playing contending football, and he hasn't skipped a beat at any point as he's moved around over the past few years. Gilmore still thrives in single coverage and can jostle with the more physical receivers who play through contact, timing his leap well on contested catches and jumping routes with top-end play recognition. Proposed trade sees Cowboys acquire $150 million QB to replace Dak Prescott. The Dallas Cowboys may soon have to think about potential replacements for Dak Prescott. Prescott is entering the final year of his contract, with no imminent talks or contract offer in place, according to CBS Sports' Josina Anderson. While a new contract could very well be worked out by both sides at some point, there's also the very realistic possibility that Prescott is entering his final season in Dallas. With that in mind, FanSided's Christopher Klein proposed a trade scenario where Dallas would make a play for the New Orleans Saints' Derek Carr. If Prescott bolts, this could be the Cowboys' best chance to land a proven starter, Klein wrote in a March 28 story. Derek Carr has 4 Pro Bowl appearances on his resume. He's a high-volume gunner, unafraid of bold throws and capable of manufacturing explosive plays. The New Orleans Saints' first season with Carr was a mild disaster, though. Carr was not always at fault, but when a talented team misses the playoffs, blame will naturally find its way to the QB. Carr was acquired by the Saints last offseason following his release from the Las Vegas Raiders. Klein argues that with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Atlanta Falcons appearing to be the favorites in the NFC South, the Saints could look to hit the reset button. Clint Kubiak was tabbed as the Saints' new OC shortly after the season, Klein. He will presumably bring some version of Kyle Shanahan's offense to New Orleans, which should fit Carr perfectly. If the Saints can't make headway in the increasingly competitive NFC South, however, the front office could be inclined to smash the reset button. Carr is a solid quarterback who has been one of the more steady starters in the NFL over the past decade. He's thrown for at least 21 touchdown passes in 8 of his 10 seasons as a starter and has never started less than 15 games in a single season. However, his overall record is lackluster, 72-87, and he's led a team to the playoffs only twice in his career. To top it all off, he's never won a playoff game. It's worth noting that Carr signed a 4-year, $150 million deal with the Saints shortly after signing. He's on the books for $40 million during the 2025 season and $50 million for the 2026 season. To put that into perspective, Carr ranks as the 6th highest paid quarterback for the 2025 season and the 4th highest paid quarterback for the 2026 season. Prescott's projected market value is $50.8 million per season across 4 years for a total of over $203 million. If the Cowboys want to run the risk of allowing Prescott to enter free agency without signing him to a contract extension before the end of the season, there will likely be at least a couple of teams eager to sign Prescott. Despite his lack of playoff success, he's 2-5 during his postseason career. He's a 3-time Pro Bowler coming off of a career season, leading the league in touchdown passes while placing second in MVP voting. Kirk Cousins, a player of a similar caliber with a lack of postseason success, just signed a 4-year, $180 million, $45 million per year, deal with the Atlanta Falcons at 35 years old and coming off of a season in which he tore his Achilles. It's worth noting that of all of the quarterback trades during the 2024 offseason, not a single one netted more than a third-round pick. In those 2 instances, where a third-round pick was traded, a fourth-round pick was also given up in return. Considering Carr will be 34 years old next year and factoring in his contract and lack of playoff success, it's hard to imagine the Cowboys surrendering more than a third-round pick for him in a potential trade scenario. While Cowboys fans wouldn't be exactly excited over the potential acquisition of Carr, it could be their next best bet if they lose Prescott. Cowboys 30 visits, could Dallas steal starting RB in NFL drafts round 7? A Tony Pollard replacement at the upcoming NFL draft? The Dallas Cowboys are on the Jase. The Cowboys have hosted a handful of backs at the Star, including former Alabama Crimson Tide rusher Jase Mclellan on a top 30 visit. As the name implies, top 30 visits offer a more in-depth experience for potential prospects, introducing them to their supposed new surroundings, and include meetings with team personnel and staffers. Little more needs to be said about Dallas' search for a running back after Tony Pollard's move to Nashville, and the draft seems to be the best, if not only, remaining avenue to find him. The discussion has already long been engaged in the Ezekiel Elliott reunion phase, but Mclellan could instead pose as a potential packed project. An alum of Aledo, TX, High School, Mclellan is fresh off an eventful 4 years in Tuscaloosa. His latter 2 seasons capped off an inspiring return from a torn ACL sustained in 2021, as he put up 1,458 rushing yards and 16 total touchdowns. Mclellan lacks explosiveness but gets it done with above-average vision and know-how, Lance Zierlein of NFL.com wrote of Mclellan. He's quick to process his lane choice and smooth getting from cut to cut. He has good not great burst and appears to be better suited for gap and inside zone runs. He runs with excellent pad level and loose hips, creating impressive contact balance to extend runs through contact. The numbers don't shine in the passing game, but he's very capable of handling all aspects of third down football. He's an instinctive runner with 3-down talent who could end up outplaying his draft slotting on the right team. Using a top 30 visit on the 5'10", 220-pound Mclellan seems a bit curious considering that the Cowboys' lack of high-profile moves in the rushing spot. Rico Dowdle and Deuce Vaughn are the apparent top options in the backfield, so working with another project seems iffy at best. But apparently desperate times call for relatively desperate measures, and the Cowboys are leaving no stone unturned in an attempt to salvage this ominous offseason. The 2024 NFL Draft will be held on April 25th to 27th in Detroit. And you, fan, what do you think of the situation of Jase Mclellan? Leave your opinion in the comments.